Alright, so I'm back, and today I wanted to do another rant of the week, and this time I thought this would be a fun one. I'm sure I've talked about this in the past, so a lot of these things just kind of get repeated over and over and over again because things don't get done, or if they get done, they get done wrong, or maybe now is the actual right time to do something. But I thought I would do my top 10 non-Beast Wars or non-Beast era, non-G1 figures I would like to see tackled, and by who. So the concept of this, of course, is just figures I want to see, that I would love to go pick up, or order or whatever, that are in that MP style, however you want to put it or whatever, and or something along those lines, and just like an update of that version of the character or whatever, that's not just straight G1 that we've been seeing forever. Shout out to Fans Hobby because they are the ones that are like, we're gonna branch out. You guys can take you guys can do your stuff. We're gonna do our own thing. So shout out to them for giving us some variety with the MP scale. That makes sense too. There's a lot of there's some companies out there like, oh yeah, we're gonna do our own thing with MP scale, but it's also a made up character or a version of the character that never existed. So you're sitting there like, okay, all right. So anyway, what would have been on this list, but I've heard rumor that they're getting made, was the Energon Megatron and Energon Optimus Prime from the Unicron trilogy. So the rumor is Fans Hobby's doing those as well. They did the Armada Optimus, which I have on the shelf over there, which you can't see. And they're doing that. They did the Megatron, which hasn't come out as of recording this, which I doubt it will come out in between now and then, but if it does, cool, because I will be buying that right away and we'll be taking a look at him, because I'm pretty excited about that guy. It's like the original promo shots. I was like, and I remember the original toy, like, but now I'm like looking at the actual new product shots, the painted samples. I'm like, ooh, that looks good. But anyway, so I hear they're doing the Optimus and Megatron from Energon as well. So I would like to see them on those same lines, and I would like them to do this. Would be the Cybertron, Optimus Prime, and Megatron. That's my number 10. Just because it's like, you kind of have to do one with the other. So I think it would be kind of cool to see them in those bodies. Optimus was like a souped up fire truck with rocket launchers and stuff like that. I just vaguely remember when he first picked that mode and everyone's giving him shit for doing it. Like, oh yeah, inconspicuous. And then the Megatron in that one was a really large race car. So, something different for Megatron. So that was kind of cool. There's a lot of stuff in Cybertron that I'm just now, like, as I'm talking, remembering, like, oh yeah, there was that, so I think it was Minosaur. It was like this big, I don't know what he was. He was this big thing. Construction type vehicle. And the Leo Breaker was pretty cool, especially how he linked up with the Prime. Like cool in concept. Execution, not so much. But it's like I had the mold with the Razor Claw, the BotCon Razor Claw. And I loved it at the time. Now it's super dated, but I did love it at the time. It was pretty great. So anyway, my number 9 pick. And this is going to be interesting, and I know exactly who I think should do this, and that would be Planet X. And I'm surprised they haven't actually tried, but with their materials, I can kind of see why maybe they didn't want to try it. But the War for Cybertron Bruticus. In concept, that thing is awesome looking. I would love to get a really good looking War for Cybertron Bruticus. Now, I had the Platinum Edition, I had the Standard Edition, I had the let's see here. I think there was a BotCon edition, which was close to it, and then I had the retail release. I had the Ruination release. I had a lot of them, and then I also got the X-Transbot upgrade kits, which helped out a lot. And then I also had the Military Titans upgrade kit, which that was amazing. It really changed the whole dynamic of that set, even though that thing was a piece of shit. So I would love to see somebody tackle that appropriately, and I would love to see that thing come to life. Especially if they did it in the scale, like the MMC combiners or something like that. So it's like this nice big bot. Just the way it looks would be awesome. All right. Next on the list, and there's actually 3 of them, but hey, whatever. And I don't know. Let's see here. Who would be good? I think MMC could be good here. Or actually, you know what? TFC would be the best. That's right. I'm calling some old guns here. TFC. Let's get you out, because this is where they base their Devastator on. At its core, anyway. I would love to see updated version of the Energon combiners. There was Devastator, there was Superion, and there was Bruticus. And the way they were designed was they had, for example, the Bruticus had 2 helicopters and they had 2 tank-looking things. And then they had the core body. So it was a repaint. So it's like you make one and then you repaint it into the next. And then you make 2, the second one, and you repaint it into the 4th one. And then you make the core body. Pretty simple. And it would be pretty cool to see them get tackled again. It would also be really kind of interesting. Make them bigger, make them badder, make them look good. It'd be cool also if they did it in a way where they had the clear hands, which was Energon related. Usually I don't like the clear hands and clear feet or whatever, but it'd be cool if they did it in a way that they definitely looked like purposeful hands, as opposed to, if you guys remember the way they looked, you remember it. They're awful, but give them make them updated, versions of them. But it would also be really cool to see somebody like Fans Products come out of the woodworks to do the upgrade kit that they did for the original Energon Bruticus for this set. I think that would be awesome. Or, just somebody did it. So yeah, there was 3 of those, so that would be pretty cool. The next one, I'm going to give this one to Fans Toys. Because I think this would be right up their alley. And they'd probably nail this, just hit this one out of the park. And it would be pretty cool if they did. Alternators Smokescreen. I did a rant of the week on alternators a while back, and my thought of that was the original kind of gateway into Masterpiece. Here are licensed cars, they're bigger, they're better detailed, all of that stuff, and it would be kind of cool to see a new version of it come out. Maybe just one, just as a novelty of a thing, but do it in an MP scale. So make it a little bit smaller, but do it in the same scale as a regular MP car. So that somebody could out there could be like, I'm going to put this in for my smoke screen instead of the actual MP, and just kind of pop them in there. And, none would be the wiser. I think it would be really cool. And it's Alternators was also a cool concept, and it could be a doorway to do more of the Autobot cars by doing, modern licensed vehicles, as opposed to just the old original ones. Again, might be a one and done thing just for the novelty of the fact, or it could open up a whole new option for these guys. Next up, I think MMC would probably do this best, and probably more in the reformatted line than anything else. But But I could be wrong. Somebody else could knock it out. Maybe Fans Hobby or somebody. But again, just because it's like I'm picking like the cool pieces or something that kind of like was significant for the for me anyway, and in the universe. And this one, Classics Optimus Prime. The one with the doors on the arm, definitely a dated look. So a new updated version of that. Imagine that guy, MP scale with MP design, maybe those things fold up a little bit better, but just that more modern, mature look of Optimus Prime. It was something that, it helped me get back into collecting the G1 stuff. The whole original Classics line was really good, and I wouldn't mind seeing those guys again. The original Bumblebee, the Grimlock, even though he didn't look anything like Grimlock the way he transformed, but him, Hot Rod, Astro Train, Megatron, that'd be kind of fun to see Megatron as the big Nerf gun again with the big wings in the back. But mostly the Prime. I just think that would be a pretty cool update for Optimus Prime, just to see something like that. Next up, I think these next four would pretty much go right to Fans Hobby, just because it's in their wheelhouse. First up, the Armada Seekers. So again, license to print money. You do one, and you can at least get 4 out of them, because there were 4 in between Armada and Universe 1.0. There were 4 different Seekers. There was Starscream. There was Thundercracker, which you could also say was Power Link Starscream, one of the two. Maybe you could do like a different head, coloration for the box or something like that. Like do a Thundercracker, but also give it an alternate head that would represent Starscream. Whatever. Then there was Skywarp, which had a whole different head, like with a fin on the top. It was a very menacing head. And then that one got retooled into Ramjet. So it'd be kind of cool to see MP scale versions of those guys. Now, I know Takara did those guys a while back, and a lot of them ended up being exclusive, so I don't think they were readily available. But, that's just something that was kind of cool then, and I think it would be cool to see as an MP. Next one of my personal favorites from the Armada line, Armada Thrust. I would love to see Armada Thrust. Again, there's some repaint potential. There's the so there was the original one was kind of like a dark gray and green. There was a Japanese version that was more red. And then there was the Powerlinks American version, which was brown. And then there was the Universe 1.0 Sunstorm, which was yellow. So there, again, there's 4 possibility of repaints, or just the one would be fine too. Just Thrust. I would love to get a new Thrust that actually had like hands instead of just afterburners. Just like let's do these guys some justice. These guys, much like the G1, like their figures were better than G1 because they had more better articulation and stuff like that. But much like the G1, like their figures were not good. They weren't great at all. So it'd be nice to see some updated versions of those characters. And that's what the primary thing about this is. All right, and the next one is Energon. Well, see. MMC could do this one pretty good too. But Energon Scorponok. I really like that version of Scorponok. He was one of my favorites. Versions of Scorponok. Like, I love the G1 look of him. I think, lots of Scorponok just almost always nails their design. Now I'm thinking about it. It's like, man, I love the G1 Scorponok. He was really great, which translates really well to Titans and Titans Return and all them. It's like, man. Or was it Titans Return or was it something else? I can't remember. But anyway, it's like, man, that Scorponok's pretty good. And then, but then the Energon one, which was, he looked like when you really like look at the detail, especially Scorpion mode, like he doesn't have insect mode or legs. He's got treads. He doesn't have pinchers. He's got shovel scoops. He doesn't have a stinger's tail. He's got like a construction crane. He was almost like all the Constructicons merged into one giant scorpion looking thing, and I thought that thing looked cool and menacing. I also enjoyed the movie version of him and the Make Toys version. So it's like Scorponok just translates well, I think. Those big pinchers, the tail, all the green and purple for most of them, except for the movie one, which kind of looked more like engine parts, which was also pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, that'd be pretty cool to see. Next one would be again, probably go to the fans' hobby. Energon Shock Blast. Now that would be really awesome. I would love to get an Energon Shock Blast. If they did it in the way like Quake Blast was done, or Quake Wave too, just that big, thick, menacing looking bot. But then you give him that gigantic blaster of an arm. But let's give him some elbow articulation and the hose. He's very clearly an homage to the G1 Shockwave. But it would be cool to see Shock Blast make a return, just because he was cool then. I really liked it. I have very fond memories of being frustrated to all hell, driving all around Denver and the surrounding cities looking for this figure when it came out, trying desperately to find him. And I don't think I got him right away. I think I got Six Shot first, and he was readily available. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just get him. And I was just kind of disappointed in it. And then later on, I eventually did, like, all of a sudden he just started popping up everywhere. So I was able to pick him up, and I was like, oh, okay, now I'm happy. And he's always been one of my favorite looking figures. Like, he just on the surface, he just seems so menacing. But the toy doesn't pull it off very well, especially since, he's got that one ginormous arm that's just kind of stuck like this, and it's awkward to pose it, and it would just be kind of cool to be like, give him an elbow joint. Yeah, make that arm the size of the body, of course, because that's the design element of the figure, but let's give it a little bit more posability in there. And the final one, and I would love it if Fans Toys did this. Just because I know that would make them really great quality. But honestly, I'd take it from just about anybody. But I would love it if somebody would give me G2 Cyberjets. Anybody that's watched my channel knows that's like probably my most wanted updated figures is the Cyberjets. And I think they have a big importance that gets overlooked. They were one of the first sets of figures from Transformers to feature so many ball joints. They were at the time, they were probably the most posable Transformer out there. They had a ball joint on the head, ball joints for the shoulders, ball joints for the elbows, ball joints for the hips, and ball joints for the knees. So, they were pretty close to fully articulated. I mean, and for basic jets, only this big, that was crazy. So I would love to see somebody take a stab at these guys, because I think significantly, they were very significant with that feature of the posability. And they're also very significant to me because they're the Hooligan, which I still have. I've had to buy parts for him throughout the years, but he was the first figure that I purchased with money I earned. Not allowance, not a gift. I went around the neighborhood, mowed lawns, and back in that time, mid-90s, $6, $7 is a lot of money for a kid to come up with. So, it's like mow lawn for $1. Okay, cool. So I'd mow lawn. Okay, mow another lawn for another $1. And then I rode my bike 6 miles or whatever it was from where I live to the nearest drugstore that had him, and then bought it, and I had to ride my bike back, and then I had to hide the figure, so my dad didn't know that I bought it because he would always want take my money to buy cigarettes or whatever. But yeah, it's like, oh, why don't you help the family with it? And need to go buy smokes. Yeah, it's like whatever. Anyway, but like I hid it for a while, and then I slowly snuck it in the house, without the packaging, just the toy. And it's like, no, I got this. I found this. Yeah, I found this. But but yeah, it was a very important piece for me to get at the time. So it'd be really awesome to see it updated Hooligan. And then the repaint potential is also pretty high, because so with the original three Cyberjet molds were made, and then in G2 each one of them was repainted once to the Autobot side. So there were 3 Decepticons, 3 Autobots, and they all shared the molds. And then throughout the years, those molds were used, I think, 4 to 6 times a piece. Somewhere around there. And then there was also the bomber and the smaller, it was like Starscream and BB or something like that. And I believe the G2 version got canceled, but it got reissued with, or got a second chance with Beast Wars Neo, or Beast Wars 2. I think it was Neo. No, I think it was 2. So you got a second chance there, and then in the RID line, they got really reissued there, or not reissued but repainted there. So there's 5 molds, and then there was also 2 other molds that were used that were designed for G2, but it was canceled. So then they ended up becoming part of the Machine Wars line, which then got turned into the Beast Wars line. So there's a few repaints there, and then those also got repainted into RID, and then those also had the BotCon. They repainted some of the Prime figures as them. So anyway, there's a ton of repaint potential with these jets. My only thing would be, I wish they would be mini bot size. I don't want them Starscream size. I don't spend $200 something on them. I mean, I would buy a Hooligan for $200 something, no questions asked. But it would be awesome if they were like, about this size. I think that would be perfect for them. Yeah, I know they're jets and they should be bigger, but we're talking about mass shifting. They should be smaller, because they were the smallest figures out in G2 anyway. But anyway, it would be really cool to see those. Also the other ones, I know there's like laser rods and whatever. And then there's Laser Optimus Prime, which Fans Hobby did. But so it's like, yeah, if Fans Hobby wants to knock on that door, or Fans Toys, or anybody, I would love to get some updated Cyberjets. I think they could be a pretty big hit too. But that could also be my own bias. But whatever. I know what I like. So yeah, I guess that's all I got. Oh, before I go, is there anything out there that you guys would like to see that's not Beast Wars era, or movie era, or G1 era? I gotta throw the movie 1 era in there, because it's like those are happening all over the place. So it's like, so whatever company's doing it, probably get to it eventually. But it's like these other ones, they're just not. You got Fans Hobby that's really kind of dipping their toes in it, and that's it. So anyway, yeah.